you know, these foreigners, specifically white males, come to Ghana or come to your country and offer you help and support for your child and give you all of this help and support and love and attention and all of that, you need to be really careful. Often they are wolves in sheep's clothing. This little boy, very, very intelligent boy, this white man came to a village in Ghana. I can't identify the boy and I can't identify the village or the man who was involved, to be honest, but he went to go and ask the mother of this boy if he could help her to pay the child's school fees. And the mum agreed, accepted, said fine. He started showering them with gifts and money, and you know, he even bought the father a car.
Hello everyone, I hope you're doing fine wherever you are. This is Eugene Doki Stories, yet another video, another problem. Now today this is happening back in the motherland. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Ghana. Now there is an habit that is currently happening in Ghana, and I don't know if the authorities have catched up with these particular people who are doing this kind of thing, because that's so unquote, that's so unethical, that's something that shouldn't be done. So we are having rich people, white rich people who are in Ghana, who are enticing teenagers, telling them that they want to transform their lives, hosting them in their houses. Of course, when you come to an Africa, especially when you come from the United States or you come outside Africa, of course you have a lot of money. Or if you don't have a lot of money, specifically you are advantaged because of the amount of money that you have, of course. So these white people are taking advantage of these young teenagers who still don't have work, these young teenagers who still don't know, who don't have their own conscience, who can't reason things so clearly. So they're telling them to do for them some things, and they enticing them, telling them that if you could stay with me, all your problems will end. But that's not just the story. I want you to hear something which is so unheard of, something which is so uncouth, something which is so unethical for a person to do. And I hope that the Ghana's government try to catch up with these people. Imagine a man is doing this to an African young teenagers of the same gender. You know what I'm talking about. I want us to watch this video, then come back, say something as usually do, because this is a problem that we need to talk about. I don't know which countries this thing is happening, but for what I know right now, this is happening in Ghana. Let's hear this sister's what she has to say. I'll also pin the name of the sister in the description. I'll also share it on the screen so that you get to see her name and go to listen full story how things go. So for now, let's jump right into this.
I want to talk to you today about something that happened in Ghana to a young village boy. And if you are in Ghana or you're in any developing country, and you know, these foreigners, specifically white males, come to Ghana or come to your country and offer you help and support for your child and give you all of this help and support and love and attention and all of that, you need to be really careful. Often they are wolves in sheep's clothing. This little boy, very, very intelligent boy, this white man came to a village in Ghana. I can't identify the boy and I can't identify the village or the man who was involved, to be honest, but he went to go and ask the mother of this boy if he could help her to pay the child's school fees. And the mum agreed, accepted, said fine. He started showering them with gifts and money, and you know, he even bought the father a car. You know, it got to a point where he was buying everything for the child, and the parents were so happy. He felt so blessed, kept on thanking him and treating him like a king, eating, giving him food, and it got to a point where he was living in their house, and he was paying all the bills, and he was fixing up the house, fixing up the land, making the house look all nice and posh, and everybody was like, in the local area was like, wow, you know, what's going on? This guy has come, he's like a savior. He was helping everybody in the area. People were so grateful. Anyway, This man eventually said that he was going to take the child to the UK and let him come and live with him, and the parents agreed. They said, fine, let him school in the UK, we're so grateful, we're so happy. Anyway, to cut a long story short, it turned out that this man was actually a paedophile. The little boy was 14 years old at the time. When the child turned to 16, he came out and said that he was in a relationship with this man and they were going to get married. It's funny that this stuff was never on the news, never been on the news. It's a local story that I got to know through a very close friend of mine. And this man has never been to jail. Up to now, he's never been to jail. I don't know where he is actually, but as far as I know, he had never been to jail. I've seen the man's face before. I don't have his picture. Otherwise, I would just put this man on blast, to be quite honest. But I've seen the man before, and the whole story. I spoke to the family, and they told me the whole story. It turned out that this boy was in a relationship with the guy from the age of 13. So he was 14 when he took him to the UK, but he was 13 when he started to talk to him. But he began that sordid relationship with him when he was 13 years old, and then took him to the UK, put him in school, put him through the whole university and everything. He went to university. Well, when he turned 16, he went into a relationship with the boy. The boy was saying he loves the guy, but personally I see it as grooming. The man groomed him to believe that this was a normal relationship from the age of 13. So I advise people that are struggling in Ghana or Africa or any place to be really careful about these knights in shining armors that turn up and say they're going to pay for everything and they're going to take your child abroad and they're going to help you and all of that. Most of these people are wolves in sheep clothing, and even if they're not wolves in sheep's clothing, you do not want to allow some random person to come from abroad and take your child. And if you're watching this and you think that this kind of thing doesn't happen, you'll be sorely mistaken. It is very, very common out there. And in Ghana and probably other African countries, I don't know, but in Ghana specifically, because I live there. And I also know of situations where gay men go over to Ghana and they find young boys and they take them in and help them and support them and end up grooming them into a relationship. This thing is happening all the time. It's an ongoing thing. There's even a house in Ghana that this house was built by this gay man, and he's helping all these young boys, local boys in the area. The young boys come to his house, he gives them food, he gives them drink, he gives them everything, phones, laptops and all that kind of stuff. And one of the boys told me that he was in a relationship with the man, and this boy was 16 years old at the time. And I told him, are you actually gay? And he was like, oh, he's giving me money, he's helping me, so I don't mind. And I even told the mother, and the mum, she kind of shrugged her shoulders like she thought it was a lie, you see. So if you're an African person and you're watching this and you've seen this kind of thing going on, you need to keep an eye on those type of people, because these people are evil. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. See you soon. Actually, before I go, check out the link in the description for 1 million black-owned brands and for a program that we have for supporting African creators, because some of the proceeds of all of these things go towards providing help and support for vulnerable women in Ghana specifically. So go and check that out. Peace and love.
So welcome back, guys, to the video. I hope that you've watched the video, and I know you are wondering the same. I'm shocked, because for me, honestly, I don't know how many African countries is this happening. And really, our government, first thing that I would like to say, I'm blaming the African leadership for this. Because why? They're the people who are allowing these people to come to their countries. Two, after allowing them to come to their countries, the people are not doing follow-up in these houses. What are these people doing? You can't take a 16-year-old African boy, try to impose your Western things into these kids. That's so crazy. That's so crazy. And then funny enough, the child comes later, tries to say that I cannot survive, I have to do it. Because this is something that they don't love doing. They're doing it out of being desperate. When desperation leads them to do this, they don't care. You realize that some kids don't even have something to eat. And when these people see them, these people are predators. And they are predators to the African kids. And they're doing this to young men, to young kids who don't even know what they're trying to do. For honestly, that's so inhumane. That's so traumatizing. That's something that should be abolished. That's something that should be should be, these people just should just be deported and taken back to their countries, because you can't move from the United States or whichever country you're coming from, coming to Africa. Specifically, this was happening in Ghana. Going, you're leaving different beautiful women in the country, going for these kids. What are you trying? What agenda are you trying to push in Africa? And for the leaders who are agreeing for these people to push this agenda, now they are the bigger problem that you're dealing with. They are a big problem that you're dealing with. They are the menace that you're dealing with. They are the detriment to the future of the youth. Because tell me, if such kind of a person gets to make money in this way, they also share with their friends and they'll tell them, you know, the way I make money, I have this white rich person who does to me this and then they pay me money. Like, come on, man. We don't want an African society where youth can think. And you're imposing your ways, you're imposing your culture to these African kids. Eroding the African values, the African customs, saying, no, we don't support that. Our African values and customs don't support that. And you coming out of nowhere, trying to impose these things to these kids. Tell me how crazy that can be. I mean, that's so crazy. And it's human to begin with. So I'm calling out any Ghanaian watching this video. You might have known, or you might be a victim to the person who does this to people. Kindly reach out to the relevant authorities. And salute to the sister who shared this video. Salute to you for sharing this video. Let the world know the truth, what is happening in Ghana. What is happening in Ghana, especially to the youth, especially to these children, especially to these kids, is not right. And this is something that we need to call out these people who are trying to do this to these people. You can't just take advantage because you're a white person, because you have money, and you want to take advantage of the less privileged African kids who don't even know to separate wrong and right. Kids who are barely fighting for something for them to eat. Kids who their parents have left them to hustle. You're taking advantage of them. They are not doing this in a free will. That's what I know. Because you have the dollar, because you have the money, you're taking advantage of these kids. I'm calling you out if you're a person who is doing this. Somebody can say that I am so harsh to white people. No, I'm not so harsh to white people, because what I'm saying is the truth. And I'm not like I'm saying all white people are doing this to these African kids. They're not doing, not all of them. But of course, I know there are some of them who are malicious. Some of them who are doing this to these kids. And that ain't right at all. That ain't right at all. And that makes me question a number of things. We need to start looking for these people who adopt African kids, African children, and goes with them in the United States. Get to see what they do with these kids. What are they doing with them? That's something that even the government should start looking at. Because if this is happening to these kids, and it's happening in Ghana, in African country, how about these African kids that are usually taken outside Africa, who are usually taken, their visa paid, everything paid, they promise the parents that we're going to take care of your child, we're going to give them the support, and then they get back to the United States, and then they start turning this child, a child who, if they could have grown in Africa, they couldn't have been the way now they are. And I know sometimes this feels like a cult. Once you start getting into that shit, you can't get out of it. You can't just get out of it. And you know how it's crazy. You know, it's really, really crazy. So I'm calling out all Ghanaians. You know a friend, you know a person who does this to these people, can you report them? Report them, because the people that they are trying to do this to them, they still can't stand for themselves. A 16-year-old kid in Ghana, a 16-year-old kid in Ghana, a 14-year-old boy in Ghana, still can't make some decisions for themselves. And when they're confused with this money, they gotta say yes. And at the long run, they'll get used to this thing. And when they get used to that, that's where the problem starts, because they start spreading this cult thing to other people. Honestly, I don't support that. I'm not against them, but targeting African kids, targeting the future or the hope of Africa, tarnishing the values and customs of Africa, That ain't right at all. That's uncouth. We can't entertain such kind of thing. That's why I'm saying, kindly share this video to people. If you have a family, if you're a person who have kids in Ghana, especially white, where we have white people, I mean, you gotta try to look at what they're doing, because that shit ain't right at all. It ain't right. And we need to find a way of stopping them as early as possible before they go to do this thing to other people. And my question is this: it is that we should have a diasporan who comes from the United States, who comes to Ghana, for them to say this so that they can speak about this. I'm not hearing any Ghanaians speaking about this shit. I'm not hearing any Ghanaians talking about this thing. But why? But why? Why should you have a person who comes from the United States come to Africa so that they get to know the problem that you are going through as Africans themselves? Yeah, I'm in Kenya. If I could have had something like that happening in my own country, I could have spoken. But we're having this thing happening in Ghana. These people are not talking. They are quiet. And the values and the customs of these people, it's being tarnished to something else. Tarnished to something else that is not beautiful. We Africans, we are not ready to embrace what these people are trying to bring to us. So if you know these people are doing this thing, kindly report them to the relevant authorities as early as possible before this disease, before this cancer reaches youths in Africa, specifically Ghana. Guys, thank you for watching this video. Consider sharing this video to people who you feel like the safety of their kids can be compromised, especially, I'll say it again, especially when you are in these areas where these people are located. I hope this video finds you well. I hope this video serves you right. And if you're watching this video, kindly you can join my membership, get to see what I can offer you. Let's stop this problem. Let's stop this problem. Today it's happening in Ghana. Tomorrow we don't know which country it will happen. And it starts from somewhere. So we need to stop this as early as possible. Tell me guys what you think about this video. Kindly tell me what you think about this video. As you always know, this is Eugene Docu Stories. I hope to see you in my next video. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.